If you don't know what Warhammer 40k is about, it's alright. I have a pretty fresh relationship with the world of Warhammer myself. Ever since this absolutely gorgeous piece of entertainment media blessed my eyes, I've been trying to get to know this absolute monstrosity of a lore a bit better. The best way I could describe it, if Star Wars and Doom had a baby, and that baby was raised by Darth Vader and the Roman Empire, and a bit of H.R. Giger sprinkled in. It's a sci-fi universe set 40,000 years in the future, that humanity rules the galaxy under a decaying empire fueled by religious madness, endless war, and body horror to the maximum. The lore is so massive and detailed that if I started explaining it all, we would all get a stroke just by looking at the possible length of this video. So this video is more a list of all the stuff that puts Warhammer at the back of the list for the classic question, which universe would you want to be teleported, reincarnated in, if you could choose? By the end of this video, you will probably understand what I'm yapping about here, or a lot sooner. Because one of the worst things that could happen is being the average guy. Because by your parents naming you Joe, no offense to any Joes, you are basically vulnerable to all the worst atrocities the human mind can comprehend. Worse than all the Resident Evil movies combined, even worse than your thoughts at 3 AM. It's not for the lighthearted. Because, in case your belly sends signals to your brain that it's time to consume, you can pick up your daily rations of processed human remains. No one tells you that, of course, just enjoy your slightly off-tasting protein bar while yesterday's dead guy keeps you nourished, until you became the next main ingredient of the protein bar. But before that, it's time for the ultimate 9 to 5 grind, because you got into a beef with the local priest for being late from the 92nd holy mass of the day to worship the emperor's holy name. So it's time for you to get turned into a servitor, a human turned cyborg slave that got lobotomized, got upgraded with some robotic limbs. You are now a flesh and metal office printer for the rest of your miserable existence. Or the other possibility, you join the Penal Legion, Penal, where they slap an explosive collar around your neck and throw you at enemies like disposable cannon fodder. Survive enough missions, you might get a bit of freedom, but you won't survive. Okay, let's say you got lucky, and you were born with some psychic powers. Sounds like you hit the genetic lottery, right? But not in this universe. You are cooked. The Imperium drafts you as a sectioned psyker. Your training either kills you, turns your sanity into discounted pizza roll, or makes you a demon bait. And if you survive, Emperor will probably drain your life to power warp navigation. We will get back to that later. If the Chaos God, Nargo, takes an interest in you and tries to raise you up, he might bless you with immortality. But in the Warhammer universe, it's obviously not really a blessing, because he will turn you into a rotting shell that can't die. You will be smelling like death and spreading diseases for eternity, and killing billions and billions of people. You will basically be turned into one of those automatic air fresheners that make your heart stop when they randomly go off. Fuck those, by the way. The Imperium doesn't care about you, you are expendable. Billions of humans are born, live and die without ever seeing the sky. They don't give a fuck about you. It's like being a crash test dummy, except the crash never ends. There are many other horrible things I could mention, but I didn't include them here because we need to talk about other stuff. Like the war, basically hell in space. It's a space travel portal thingy where you can dive into dimensions made entirely of pure emotions and nightmares. It's powered by the collective suffering of the galaxy. Time is broken inside. Travelers can age centuries in moments, arrive before they left, or just never arrive at all. So it's all some interstellar shit, right, Tars?
Make me take you down again. Sit down!
Demons are basically the warp's auto-generated NPCs. Except not the friendly types. They want to skin you alive and use your soul as a fidget spinner. But the warp isn't the worst part. Meet its older, nastier cousin, the Isle of Terror. The Isle of Terror is like the warp decided to cosplay as the Bermuda Triangle. It's a mix of the Bermuda Triangle with Chernobyl. It was created when the Eldar partied so hard that they birthed a chaos god, Slaanesh. Their empire fell because they couldn't chill with the space cocaine and weird orgies. Now it's a storm of demons, broken worlds and suffering. Planets inside the Eye exist in a constant state of torment. You could live an entire lifetime being haunted by monsters only to get respawned and do it all over again. It's like trying to complete Cold World at War on Veteran with permadeath. It's the highest form of suffering. If you haven't tried it yet, I highly recommend. Next, we have the Black Stone Fortresses. So these floating nether fortresses from Minecraft, each the size of a small moon and capable of obliterating entire planets. Nobody knows who built them. They are ancient, indestructible, and they keep changing hands like cursed NFTs. Sometimes the Imperium controls one, sometimes Chaos, and sometimes they just vanish. Long before humans were even building mud huts, then were the
Khitan,
literal star gods who convinced the Necrons to give up their souls in exchange for immortality. The Necrons eventually realized, wait, these guys are fucking assholes, and they shattered them into shards. Though these shards are used as weapons, so basically they turn them into little cute pet nukes. Before we get to what Hellbrute is, we need to talk about the Space Marines. Space Marines in 140k are basically humanity's ultimate super soldier. Genetically engineered killing machines with power armor. They are kind of like if you mix Master Chief and the Doomslayer, and they are fanatically loyal to the Emperor of mankind. Each Space Marine is recruited as a teenager, subjected to brutal training, and implanted with 19 extra organs, including the second heart, a poison filter in the throat, and even an organ that lets them eat dirt to survive. So yeah, they are fucking hard to beat. Now, meet the Hellbrute. For a Space Marine forced to chaos and gets too damaged to fight, they don't retire. They get stuffed into a dreadnought suit and turned into a Hellbrute. They are trapped in a metal sarcophagus, their body is mutilated, their mind is broken, and pain is the only thing keeping them conscious. Kind of like how Dr. Wilhelm Strasse treated American soldiers in Warfighting. The worst part, they are still used in battle. They don't fight because they want to, they fight because the pain stops only when they are killing something. Now, here's my favorite, let me present to you, the Emperor Cloves Titan. A walking church packed with city-leveling weapons, priests literally chant prayers while the Titan destroyed everything in its path. It's like if the Vatican decided to build Optimus Prime. It's a 12-story mech marching and blasting organ music while melting buildings with a laser the size of a school bus. It's usually deployed when an entire planet needs to be wiped out, so as a civilian, it's not exactly the best omen. It's not here to save you, it's here to fuck you up. And I can't end this video without talking about the Imperium of Man. The local government, where the motto is basically, if it bleeds, tax it, if it resists, kill it, if it dies, recycle it. Not that different from the real world, except for the recycling part. This place runs on oppression, blind faith, and policies that make any dystopian government from the last decade of movies look like a vacation in the Bahamas. Pirates under imperial rule pay a tax which can be anything from resources to manpower. Can't meet the quota? They will just conscript your child. Whole generations are stripped from their homes and thrown into the Astra Militarum, aka the Imperial Guard, a meat grinder where the life expectancy is measured in minutes. So yeah, you are better off with the IRS. So the thing I learned from making this video, if you strip away all the badass stuff like Space Marines, giant mechs with churches on their back, and the almighty gods, the only thing left is endless war and suffering till eternity. But at least, if you're born to be a Space Marine, you can suffer while being simultaneously a professional or a farmer.